question. I might have mentioned this before, but I really like turkey. And mashed potatoes, and stuffing, and gravy. It's one of my favorite things in the whole universe. When I was a kid, we would have it at Thanksgiving, and then we would have it again at Christmas. So I got it like twice in a month. And even today, that 20 minutes of Thanksgiving dinner is probably the happiest 20 minutes of the year for me. I love it. I love it. So when I was in 1997, I was 23 and I was home from school for Christmas. And I loved that meal so much that I had this great idea. So my great idea was I just wasn't going to eat anything the whole first part of the day. And then I could just eat more of that for dinner. So we woke up and we opened presents. I had nothing for breakfast. We went and we opened more presents. I had nothing for lunch. We had a nice day, had a nice time with my family. And then it came time for dinner. And I got my plate. And I piled it up with turkey. And I piled it up with mashed potatoes. And I piled it up with stuffing. And I piled it up with gravy. And I sat down. And that was probably the single greatest plate of food I have ever had in my life. It was so good. So I had another one. I went back. I got another plate of turkey. And mashed potatoes. Stuffing. And gravy. And I piled it all up. And I sat down. And I ate it. And it was the second best plate of food I ever had in my life. So I had another one. Went back and got another plate of turkey. Another plate of mashed potatoes. Another plate of stuffing. Gravy. Sat down, and that was probably the third best plate I ever had in my life. That was an epic meal that I would never forget. And I was forced to remember it many times that night. The turkey, the mashed potatoes, and the stuffing, and the gravy. Over and over and over that night. So I didn't get much sleep that night. The next day was kind of rough. And I kind of spent it lounging around, just kind of sitting in the chair, watching TV, lying on the couch, drinking water, didn't really eat much, just nibbled on a little bit here and there, just kind of trying to rehydrate. And I was waiting because Beth, who's my wife now, was my girlfriend at the time, was supposed to call me that day. She was in Tennessee with her family. And I could just hear it, the grief I was going to get. And I deserved it. I had earned it. I had done it to myself. So I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of sympathy. I was kind of waiting for her to call, and I was just sitting around in the chair, watching TV, and the phone rang, so I went to get it. And it was Beth. She said, "Hey, how are you?" I started to downplay a little bit, I said, "Well, I'm okay. I was kind of up all night sick, but I'm all right." And she said, "I'm sorry you were up sick, but my dad died." I was like, "What?" "Well, he had a heart attack." They were at the aquarium, and they were looking at turtles, and he fell over, and he died. Just like that. And the only thing that's unique about my story is that it's mine. Because we could go around the room and we could all tell stories of people who died too young. And tragic moments that came into our seemingly normal days and just changed everything. And those moments, when they change everything, I've seen it go two ways. And I want to talk about those. I want to talk about what we do with tragedy, how we handle it, and what Jesus has to say about it. And so I want to read something for you now that he had to say about it. And I just want you to listen to this and think about it. Get comfortable in your chair, maybe close your eyes and hear what he has to say. And it's kind of tough to hear, I think, but we're going to talk about it when you hear the chime come back to worship. So here goes. At this time, Jesus was informed that Pontius Pilate, the ruler of the area, had murdered some people from Galilee while they were sacrificing at the temple in Jerusalem. "Do you think these Galileans were worse sinners than other people from Galilee?" Jesus asked. "Is that why they suffered? Not at all. And you will also perish, unless you turn from your evil ways and turn to God. And what about the 18 men who died when the Tower of Siloam fell on them? Were they the worst sinners in Jerusalem? No. And I tell you again, that unless you repent, you will also perish.